Alright, so we're going to attach the nose belly bit right here. A couple of tiny running stitches. Now, if you decide to go this route, there will not most likely be enough of this blue floss for you to do this. So I will let you know what color DMC floss this is, so you could get more if you decide to go this direction. My son just informed me that he likes it better with it not being a stuffed face, so I don't know. Alright, on the belly you can either blanket stitch all the way around, or you can do a running stitch. I'm personally partial to the blanket stitch in this situation, so okay. Oops. The blanket stitch is a little bit harder in this situation, but I'm a fan, so. But as you can see, you want to just come through a little bit there and then wrap and pull. So you're actually going through, oops, you can't even tell back there, but you are going through the blue too, to achieve that. So obviously a running stitch would be a lot faster than the blanket stitch. I just really like the look of it, so it's really a preference thing. Alright, I'm going to pause there for a second. We need to cut out our arms. I'm just going to cut out one right off the bat, since that's all I need right this second. A little arm pattern piece is missing. I was going to compare it. It looks a little different to me, but I'll just make a couple tweaks. Okay, there we go. Alright, so we place them on there. I've made that so it would match up with your seam there. So now I know that when I do the next blanket stitch, I can do it kind of a bigger one because of the arm. So if we put the arm back on top, there, yeah, that'll look good. Like that. Okay. Alright, I'm going to pause there for 1 second and stitch on the arm. Okay. So I'm not going to do it at the edge because when you do the blanket stitch around, that will take care of that. So I'm going to come in a little bit from the edge and just do a couple small stitches. I can't really do a true running stitch with the felt here because we're doing layers. Be a little bit difficult. Okay, so you can see it's on there pretty good. So finish up that in the back. All right, trim. Okay, so you can see he is definitely starting to come to life and look very much like your little dragon friend. So I'm going to keep stitching around and then put the other arm on. Okay, so I've got both hands stitched on there and the belly stitched all the way around. I put a little bit of stuffing in there too. Again, you don't have to do that. I just kind of want to see what it looks like. My son prefers it to be completely flat, so it's just a personal preference. Okay, so at this point, the front is completely done, and I've got the wings cut out. So you've got these extension bits right here. That's the part that actually tucks in. So I am going to just place it right there and right there. So just kind of where it curves in right here, that's where you're going to tuck them in. And then when you stitch, which I'm going to start stitching probably right in the middle of that, when you stitch, I'm going to go around like this, blanket stitching. I'll probably pause after I get both wings done and then stuff the head and then start stitching around the bottom, and when you get to the stomach area, stop and stitch this, stuff that side, and then stitch until you get around here, stuff, then finish stitching right by the wing. So I'm going to take that wing out while I stitch this side. So it's up to you. If you want to bring them in further, you can. It's just kind of, you know, your aesthetic, what you like it to look like. Also, if you want to, you can do stitch lines on the wings, like, you know, to give it that boning look. You could also on the stomach do ridge lines. Again, I did not provide enough floss for that, so if that's something you want to do, you would need additional supplies for that. Alright. Okay, so we are ready to blanket stitch. So I gotta make sure my pieces are aligned, especially since I've got the stuffing in there, so I gotta really be mindful. Alright, so I'm going to come in on the inside, and I'm actually going to kind of tack in the wing a little bit, so you can see I did not go through the back. Alright. Oops. It might also be easier to use pins and pin your pieces together. Okay. So you're going to want to come through the back and then up here. Now before you come all the way through, go ahead and wrap around the needle there. Oops. And that'll give you your first blanket stitch. So when you're actually going over where the wing is, I just do a running stitch over here because you can't really blanket stitch that too well. got his little foot caught. Alright, so now I'm going to go back to blanket stitching. Alright, so you're going to bring the thread over the needle, making sure it's not wrapped around the wing. Alright, we got that pulled tight. Okay. And we're going to just blanket stitch around. Oops. Those little feet just really want to get in there. Okay, so now that I've gotten to where the face is connecting to the body, you're going to want to make sure you go through all 3 layers and then blanket stitch. So again, I'm making sure I'm through all 3. I'm going to actually push in that fluff a little bit more. Oops. Alright, now we are up to the ears. Alright, but those are just really easy, you just keep blanket stitching. Alright, I'm going to keep blanket stitching until I get to the other wing, and then I will be back to show you how to start stuffing.